So I just got done watching Sakamoto Days Part 2, Episode 1, and this is what I wanted out of Sakamoto Days. Now, granted, I'm still not as high on this episode as I wanted to be, mainly because I feel like the action, the Shin versus Saw fight, very clippy. We didn't get any dynamic action. It felt very, here's a still of them getting punched. Here's a still with some movement lines and stuff like that. I hate that in anime. In fact, it is one of my least favorite things in combat. Look, I was not a big fan of Lazarus. I even stopped reviewing Lazarus on our podcast because I just didn't feel like I had much nice to say about it. But the one thing it had going for it was that it had the John Wick director directing the action, and all the action looked phenomenal in that show. People call this the John Wick of anime. I'm not feeling the action in it as much. I think maybe because Saw is admittedly the lamest of the four death row inmates, because all he does is wield an axe. We don't get a guy who's crushing people with his bare hands or a lady who's shooting spikes into people or anything like that. We're just getting a guy who wields an axe. Not super interesting. He wants to give people the perfect ending, but that's not really a big thing, honestly. So I'm hoping when we get into the later death row inmates, we get some more dynamic action, especially as we introduce Sakamoto into the picture. Because honestly, the most dynamic action that we got was Sakamoto training. And that was like a few scenes where he's getting shot with bullets, and I felt the movement. I felt the actual action there as opposed to Shin versus Saw. But seeing Shin lock in with his future ability, his future sight ability, was really cool, and I'm interested to see how they play with that going forward. I mean, it's basically just advanced observation hockey coming from a One Piece fan, which is always very interesting how you can use that to your advantage, but it can also make your characters feel a little too overpowered. So I'm curious to see how they balance that with Shin, and also how he continues to grow, because Shin was ranked D. He is the second lowest rank, if I remember correctly. He's below pretty much everyone else. So hopefully he, now with this future sight ability, he can rank up a bit more. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. I do know that Netflix is an episode behind Japan. Technically, I could watch the second episode now if I was willing to go less than legal route, but I am going to be reviewing this weekly, episode by episode. So drop a follow if you want to know my thoughts on every single episode. Drop a like. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you're liking the show so far this season. If there's anything to get hyped for, don't spoil it in the comments, but let me know if I should be even more excited than I am, because I'm curious to see where this goes. I'm intrigued, but I just want the action to be better. I don't know why they took so long to release a second part to a first season that doesn't even feel like a season 2, because it's not, and we didn't get more dynamic action. But stay nerdy.